Hello again, everyone. You're back with SDM Kahuna. This is SDM Destiny Podcast number 3. I am joined by the incomparable, the vivacious, awesome, generally just downright all-round nice guy, SDM Outcast. How you doing, Outcast?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm feeling really good about myself right now for some reason. I don't know why.
Maybe it could be the fact that we've had some technical difficulties and I've had to do this self-ingratiating confidence boosting introduction more than once, and it's just, you know what, I reckon you're actually pulling the cord on the mic and you just get me to say nice things about you.
I just can't help myself. I feel so good.
You know what, if I was saying nice things to myself, I'd be sabotaging the call too. But yeah, no, as we were saying, SDM podcast number 3, so week 3 of Destiny. So bring us up to speed, Outcast. Where you up to, what you've been doing?
Oh, a week full of fun, isn't it? Well, yeah, I'm level 25 at the minute, slowly grinding up these light levels, or what the hell they are. Still not entirely sure how it works properly yet, but getting there nonetheless. Enjoying the game more now that we're out the storyline. The game is finding itself in the whole just kind of a little bit of fun grinding and playing with friends.
I kind of get the feeling you yourself, you've not been particularly swayed by the storyline. Yeah, I don't think it's sucked you in, has it?
No, not even the slightest, to be honest. It was over in a flash, and you've seen the areas where it was trying to suck you in. Like there was a bit in the game where it was like your ghost was like, shh, they'll hear us, sort of thing. You didn't actually have to do any cool stealth maneuvers or anything, but they're all above you and things like that, and had like the noises of them walking around and whatnot. And obviously that was one of those moments where it tried to pull you into the game.
That was right in the introduction sequence, if I remember correctly. That's when you've just been revived in the Cosmodrome.
But it didn't. It just didn't. It was all too fast paced. It was just like, pew, that's what's at the end now. That's great. This is what's happening. That just get over that, and then at the end, this is the end. That does go over the end, even though it's not the end. But if you want to see the end, you have to pay for it. But I'm over it.
You're past it. You feel like you've been able to move on.
Yeah, I mean, slightly. I mean, we still paid for a full game, and we didn't get a full game. They made Destiny knowing that it was going to be DLC storyline, unfortunately, but this not even go there.
It's one of these things though. It's like I know we constantly draw comparisons to other MMOs that have been made, and with respect, calling Destiny an MMO, I think that's basically just a category term at this stage now. MMOs are no longer what we pigeonholed them as 5, 6, 7 years ago with likes of WoW and Star Wars Galaxies and the like, and Final Fantasy 13. I know you played that.
Oh God, yeah.
Painful memories. Painful.
Oh God, and what was it? Flipping 11 as well. That was God.
We should say no more. But there have been several things with Destiny that I must admit have slowly started to annoy me more and more with the game, because we did kind of touch on this point earlier in podcast 2, which was, would we find ourselves still in the honeymoon period? I think it's safe to say we're well beyond that now.
Oh God, yeah. We're kind of like, we're getting comfortable. We're starting to put on a little bit of weight. We're not really wanting to move off the couch much. We're, that sort of stage.
But we are secretly looking at other, those newer, shinier, sexier, younger games.
Yeah. The grass is always greener on the other side.
So they say. Are we basically making a monogamy analogy with video games? This is going to be an all-time low for us.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
None whatsoever. So I'm happily married.
Not to Destiny. No,
not to Destiny. No. That's very much a one-way relationship.
But, was that what their name was? Was it that night at the strip club?
Dear God, you've caught me out again. But no, it's one of these things. It's like I get the feeling it's like, and spoiler alert to anybody who's going to stick with us for the duration of this podcast. A, we thank you for coming back, but B, this one's probably going to be slightly more negative than it has been before. And I'm going to start the ball rolling with one of the key points that is annoying me, and that is endgame leveling. Post level 20. Yep. Now, okay, we've only got 20 levels to begin with. That was always worrying. And it's perfectly possible to hit that level cap in a very short period of time. I had a friend of mine who's been playing with Absolutely 79. You'll actually see his character running around some of the footage that I've got going on in the background. Literally, this man had the worst luck ever. He got Destiny, as we all did, we worked together, on the Tuesday of release. He patiently waited to get home, put the disc in his Xbox One when his home ADSL went down. No joke, just died a complete and utter death. There was an exchange outage where he stays. Now, BT rectified that, got it back up and running, but his line was broke. Now, his line was down for an entire week, over a week. It wasn't until the weekend when his neighbour very generously helped him out by loaning him his Wi-Fi that he was able to get online and start playing at the weekend. And that's last weekend. That's last Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Within that period, he was able to hit level 20.
Damn.
You know, that was a serious effort. That was a good effort from the man. Absolutely, you are a legend. But that just proves how quickly you hit that level cap.
Well, that's it. I mean, it is so damn quick. You get to the storyline when you're level 16, you can complete that no problem. You know, and then you've got that, like you said, you've got that grind at, you know, level 16 beyond, from just sheer grinding the patrol missions and whatever else you want to do. It's ridiculous.
But even then, the XP requirements aren't that great, and then all of a sudden, out of absolutely nowhere, you get this curveball thrown at you, where you're no longer grinding XP. You're hunting down armor with light points.
Yeah.
Now, I understand. I've played end-game content before where once I've got past the level grind, I'm then moving on to equipment hunt, and I get that. But the fact that my progression in those games was still based on XP, but once I hit the top level, I then ground out better equipment to become stronger. This seems a little bit too literal. I don't like how the hunt for equipment and its light rating is... But it's not so much that's kind of a facile point. What I really hate is the fact that what I get is based on random drops.
Yeah.
This isn't like going for a set raid or a set dungeon and being guaranteed a legendary level piece of equipment. Now, it's still a random drop, but you know what level you're going to get. How often have you got an engram, gone and got it decoded to find out A, it's not better than what you've got, or B, isn't for your character?
Oh god, I'm like, a lot of the times I'll get to see a legendary or the blue, whatever that is, a rare or whatever it is,
yeah.
engrams, and they'll not even be what they are supposed to be for. It'll be like the blue will be for like the green armor rating, and it's like, that's useless because, you know, it doesn't have light on it. And then you get a legendary like once in a lifetime, and it gives you a goddamn rare. And I remember getting randomly, I got an epic engram. Lucky me. It was even for my class. It was for I think it was for Hunter. It was a pair of gloves for the Hunter. I was like, dear God. And then even Sormo, this new Queen's Wrath event that's happening right now, that is just, I mean, that's another thing that's a complete pain in the ass. The amount of times that I finally got a chess piece that was the legendary, which was great.
Yeah.
I was really happy about it. It was freaking easy as hell because you just did this mission and then boom, you get given it as an award.
Yeah.
For it, which we'll talk about later because it is complete and utter nonsense that's like that. But every time I did, you know, you did the bounty, then you got your ticket to jump into a mission for the Queen's Wrath, and then you did a story mission on like super duper hard setting or whatever, and then you get given the armor. But every time I got given the armor, it was the same bloody piece I had. Because I know so far a lot of people said they haven't seen anything but the helmet and the body piece. They haven't seen gloves or boots yet.
Yeah.
But I never got helmet, which is, you know, fair enough. It's random and everything like that. But every other piece of body armor that I got was weaker than the one I did.
You already had to begin with, yeah.
Like, and I did that solo. That was the thing. I did one of the missions completely solo, which was a bit tough, but you did it anyway, and I got this really nice chest piece. But then every time I did it after that, it was just crap. It was just nonsense. It was like, what is this? And then it's like you said, like, oh, we've got to level up our light. So every time you do one of those crazy flipping supercharged attacks, you get light orbs. So you pick them up, so that adds to your light count as well. And then you've got to flipping grind even more so to get these light stats on your flipping armors and whatnot. It's just stupid.
Sorry to jump in there. The orbs of light, I thought that initially as well. They're actually for rebuilding your super meter.
Is that all it is?
That's all that is.
I've been spamming the hell out of my flipping solar grenades making light orbs, just hoping that it goes to my light count.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
No. It just rebuilds your super meter so you can use it faster again.
God.
It's annoying.
That's just pointless, because but why?
Exactly. No, and there's another thing that has annoyed me deeply, and that is the enemy AI and the. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the game has to ramp up the difficulty, but there's a very good channel here on YouTube. If you ever get a chance to watch it, I highly recommend it. It's called Extra Credits. They do very simple animated videos, but they do talk about wonderful concepts in game design. They're a really good channel. Check them out. I've been watching a lot of their stuff for a long time. There's one bit where they talk about where it's about how difficult games can be fun and how you got to balance games for skill. You know, it's like the noob tube in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It's a powerful maneuver. It's really simple to do, and the reason is it's so when the new players show up, they've got that chance to take out that level 70 10th prestige player. Or, you know, everybody knows how to do Chun-Li's lightning kick and Honda's 100 hand slap. Because it's a powerful move and it's really simple to do and it hooks you and it brings you in. However, the real challenge in the game comes from its depth. As you know, there's far more powerful maneuvers in that game, from combos and juggles and cancels and dash and ultra combo scenarios that you can set up. And that's why skill players don't use these cheap moves, but they help your mate who's never played the game before sit on the couch and catch you when you're snoozing and kick your ass.
Yeah.
And that makes the game fun, but there's still depth to it. With Destiny, I've seen it utilizing some really old AI tricks. Now, cast your mind back to 1992 when Unreal Tournament was there. And the first time I ever fannied around with bot packs and stuff was the bot pack within the original Unreal Tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I used to play that game exclusively on Instagame. So one shot, one kill. Didn't matter if I hit you in the pinky toe or in the head, you were toast. So I used to practice against the bots on medium hard difficulty level. But I kept finding out there was this one bot. His name was Loki. It was spelled Locque or something like that. He was a Necron. Now, whenever I stepped into the room with him on Instagame, this guy would turn around, shoot me, and kill me instantly. The only chance I ever had against him is if there was another bot in the room at the same time.
Right.
Now, when I went into the bot pack, the bot pack editor was super simple. It was just fields, and it gave statistics out of 100%.
The good old days.
The good old days when it was easy to fiddle with stuff. Loki had two interesting stats. One was his awareness, and the other was his accuracy. They were both 100%. Now, in the regular game, where most weapons, with the possible exception of a full blast from the triple launch rocket launcher and a headshot from the sniper rifle, or anything with the overpower, the ultimate power buff, would kill you in one shot, that's perfectly fine. He can hit me every day with a pistol. If I've got a more powerful gun, I'm still going to win. But when it came to that Instagib weapon, instant carnage, you could not beat him.
Yeah.
And the reason why I make that point is that is exactly what... How often have you seen it? When Destiny's AI, you will stick your head out from behind cover, you'll be behind a wall. These guys are tracking you.
Yeah, they know exactly where your head's going to pop out, that fraction.
Exactly, with unparalleled accuracy. I have seen bots... I have seen enemies, when I am dead in a 3-man raid, just run up and keep attacking me.
Yeah.
and spam where I'm dead with like heavy blaster bolts and God knows else what. So it's making it impossible for my colleagues to actually come and revive me.
I don't know why it does that. I mean, it knows well, it should know that you've been killed, so why is it still attacking that area? It just doesn't make any sense, but...
It's such a cheap, frustrating tactic. It's a case of, we're not making the game difficult by... Of course the boss is going to be hard, but we're not making it difficult by making it so... Right, if you really think and use diversified tactics or find an interesting and unique way to do it, you're not giving the player options. Your only options are to shoot them,
like,
and,
even
and
if
not
you were
get
to
shot back.
Even if you were to resurrect yourself, you know, you get that maneuver eventually where you can resurrect yourself using supercharge, you'd still be done. You'd still be dead because you get pummeled.
You get right back up your toast again.
Nonsense.
It is one of these things. It's like, I know Bungie in the past, it's like the legendary difficult runs on Halo were always a pain, and you always kind of had to engage from long distance, use headshots, but yeah, that was a kind of a corridor-based shooter at the end of the day. You know, you were linear, you had a linear progression along that track, and that worked. But in a game where you're fighting in arenas against bosses that are far tougher than anything that you face in the likes of Halo, and you just feel like, yes, I've gone from being super mega badass to barely able to scratch these guys. This isn't fun difficult. This isn't, well, I can out dodge him, I can outflank him and stay away from damage. It's like, he's going to kill me in 2 hits, 1 hit possibly for some of those moves, and it's just luck if I get through or not, or if I come back and do it when I'm such a high level that I can do that damage. If I'm doing it on the level they say to do it on, like level 22 or whatnot, then some of these are damn near... They're certainly impossible to do on your own, but then obviously that's why they do the matchmaking. But it's kind of grating me a little bit with the game. I'm kind of sitting there going, come on, why does it have to be like this? I can understand difficulty spikes, but...
I mean, I don't mind difficulty. I mean, Christ, I went through flipping Halo Reach on Legendary as you did yourself. I mean, that was one tough-ass game on Legendary, you know? But have you not noticed on this one as well that nearly all the enemy's characters' ammo tracks you?
Oh yeah, everything homes in on you as well.
It's all homing ammo that they have. Yet, I don't think I have a weapon that does that.
No, we don't. It's like, you know, we've got all this wonderful technology, but everything we do is A, still projectile based, and B, travels in a direct line as you would expect. But no, there are quite a few. Certainly the Vandals use those like energy rifles, and it's like they'll jump off of stuff, and these things will track you around corners. Hell, I did a strike mission tonight where Absolute 79 and I were up against this tank on Mars, I think it was.
Alright, I think I know where you are.
Yeah, this thing is hovering around on 4 jets. Now this thing could one-shot us, no problem at all. And if it wasn't one-shotting us, it was launching a barrage of missiles which would travel out, you know, perpendicular to our position, swarm round behind what we were hiding in, and shoot us in the back.
Yeah.
And do it in a barrage of damage. We were next to no health. We then had to try and get out of cover or move, and then we get shot by machine gun. And it's just like, oh my god, you picked like the most annoying combination of cheap tricks.
These bosses seems to be a pit of cheap tricks, to be honest.
Exactly. So yeah, these bosses are not difficult because they're hard to beat. They're difficult because they cheat. They break the rules that apply to you in the game. You know, it's like you can hide behind cover, and it's like you physically can't see this thing. You got to stick your head out and hope it's not looking at you. That's not stopping it. It knows exactly where you are, and it's tracking your position constantly throughout the engagement.
Spamming it with grenades, so even if you move slightly out of the way, the radius of the grenade is still hitting you, even though you're behind a wall. You know.
Exactly.
I was in that area earlier.
the difficulty has, you know, combined with the leveling, that's produced a rather special sauce kind of annoyance for me right about now. It's like it's one that's kind of bringing into question, along with the pacing, where the hell are Bungie thinking they're going to go with this?
I just think, where's all the money gone? I mean, yeah, the game looks amazing and whatnot, and they spent a bit of money on a certain voice actor and you know, amongst a few other things, and well, that and the advertising campaign. But I just think for what they released of the game, not talking about DLC or anything like that, because really, I don't think that should even be like a thing. The DLC, I think they shouldn't even bother making any, or should you should be definitely getting that like a certain amount of that for free to begin with. But no, as soon as you got the game season pack, go and buy it right now. But anyway, it's like they spent all that money on advertising, hyping it up, and a lot of us believed all the hype, and unfortunately, it's left a sour taste in our mouths. But where is the money gone? Because it hasn't been the storyline. It hasn't been the AI or the enemies, because they've only got two different ways really. It's either normal or rush with a ton of extra health and a ton of extra damage.
Yeah,
and that's what they do. Just they rush the hell out of you, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's literally occasions where you're like, I've got nowhere to go. You spawn people right in on top. I know there's so many questions being asked, and that, unfortunately, it's like, Bungie, I love you deeply. I'm a massive fan of your work. I don't want to be this negative about the game, but I can see where, when you've come from developing games that maybe had a, let's face it, the story in Halo per game took you as long as it took you to complete the game.
Yeah.
Whether you ran through that in 3.5 hours or whether it took you 8 hours to complete, that was entirely up to your skill. And that was fine.
And everyone always tried Legendary. I mean, that was, you complete the game and then you jump on Legendary. That's what you did.
Well, that was a challenge. But the thing was, though, it's like Legendary sat there and, like, who remembers the first time they played Doom and you, like, you saw the difficulty levels, like easy, normal, hard, nightmare. And when you put it on nightmare, it gave that little warning saying, are you sure this isn't even remotely fair? Because it disabled the cheats. It disabled everything. And it's like the damage you could do versus the damage and hit points that the enemy had. But that was there just for the sadomasochist approach.
Oh, yeah.
And it made that perfectly clear. It warned you to begin with. And we understand heroic missions should be difficult. However, that being said, when there's a lack of depth in the game, and going back to that difficulty, why difficult games can be kind of fun, is if I had options like, say you're a Titan, I'm a Warlock, and somebody's a Hunter. Say what we can do is the Hunter can stay, because there's no aggro system.
Yeah.
There's nothing that somebody can do to draw attention, because everybody's paying attention to you all the time. It's just whether you're in cover or not. So why can't the Warlock have something that maybe slows down the enemy? Maybe makes him a little less accurate or dizzies him, or the Titan can have, extra aggro because of the armor and withstand more, but everybody's vulnerable.
Well, that was a point that I was going to make. The classes themselves are just completely and utterly not required, because yeah, they look different and they play a little bit different, but they're all the game thinks of it exactly the same as the next character.
Well, you're all using the same guns.
In the same even the second the new subclasses that you get. Obviously it's only the one, but it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, except for you might get a couple extra things where, oh yeah, you can buff some of your team members and whatnot if you use your supercharging like you're able to do. But like, it's down to everything, even down to the AI in the game, even down to the storyline in the game. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what class you are. Rather than the odds. Oh, hello, flipping, hunter or whatever that you get randomly when you're walking around places. But it doesn't affect the storyline. It doesn't affect the AI. Because everything treats you just as the exact same as the next person.
Yeah.
There's no relevance behind it. It's completely pointless.
Question, and quickly before we wrap up this week, how tempted are you to go in with a second character?
I was tempted, only due to the fact that I've got a hell of a lot of legendary stuff that's not for my phone character at the moment. But that's been it, to be honest. I'm not really willing to put in the hours to sit and grind another card. Or not that it took long to get out to level 20, but it's after 20 that's the problem. Yeah, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. 'Cause, I mean, I'm still doing it right now. I mean, there's a guy out there that's level 30, good on him, but sweet Jesus, he must have spent so much time grinding all that equipment. And do you want to be doing that on a second character?
Well, it's even that as well, and it's like I know prior to this we discussed some of the things we're going to talk about. I think it speaks more volumes of the fact that we as avid gamers and huge fans of Bungie are starting to feel a little bit hurt. Like we couldn't cover all the points that we wanted to cover. I knew there was a few little kind of things about glitches and perhaps farming mechanics that had come to the attention of the mass populace that we're going to cover
next week.
There's next week for that amongst some of the other things that we want to go over. But yeah, it's like I do sit there and I'm like, oh, I'm starting to think wasted opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad game, right?
That's the problem.
It's not a bad game. We're just seeing what it could have been.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
are our expectations too high for what is essentially a simple run and gun shooter with persistent world mechanics?
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, we would not be this harsh with Call of Duty. Because we're going to Call of Duty going, yay, it's Call of Duty. Granted, this one, the one coming up, has a fantastic new game engine. Looks very pretty. I mean, some of the trailers are jaw-dropping.
Yeah, I mean...
I'd go to the cinema and watch a feature-length film if it looked like that.
I always wondered what Titanfall and Call of Duty would look like mixing together as well. And you know what? There you go.
There we go. If they had a love child, this is what it would be.
Yeah.
But you go into that game, you know what to expect. I think we've adjusted our expectations now. We're continuing to play the game with slightly more realistic expectations.
Yeah, but like now we know that it's not what they said it was going to be. Like, fair enough. Okay, we're over it now. What's next? You know.
Exactly. Well, this is the thing. Bungie are going to have to work to bring this around. They're going to have to add some diversity to it. I mean, there's a lot can be done. They can change classes, they can expand skills, they can change mission types, they can, you know, the humble shooter does give you options.
Yeah.
But I would have to build that in.
I would just love it if the classes, as in, and even races, meant something. Yeah. That's my only thing. Like, the fact I'm an EXO, it doesn't even come into the storyline, it doesn't come into anything. That's what annoys me.
Yeah, you could have simple race buffs like EXOs. Invulnerable to fire, but more pervy, you know, more vulnerable to warp, you know, or
even missions that only just say a certain class can do, or a certain race can do, or something like just something that basically signifies that you're different than anyone else.
Exactly. Well, again, you know, your classes and factions in other games defined a lot of story choices, and it often forced you down another path if you wanted to see it.
Exactly.
So you had to create another character. But again, Outcast, I'd like to thank you sincerely for taking the time out. I appreciate you're a busy man. You're working on your channel. Again, ladies and gentlemen.
Pleasure.
No. Again, ladies, gents, anybody who's listening, please check out SDM Outcast channel. There's links to it on my site. He's got a lot of great videos. Go check him out. Give him some support. Leave some comments and feedback for him. Again, anybody who's stuck with us for the duration of this, thank you for your time. If you like what we're doing, please like it. If you don't like it, please dislike it. Give us some feedback. We'd love to know what you're thinking of the productions that we're putting together. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. I'd be very much appreciated for more viewers. It's like we're doing this for you guys. You know, we're essentially community members, and we're doing this because we want to share with you guys, share our opinions, and again, like to thank you for taking the time out. So, Outcast, my man, I thank you again. I will speak to you next week back on your channel.
Oh, it'll be fun. Be back on my channel.
Indeed, it's channel. Back at home where you're more comfortable.
Oh, it's nice and cozy.
Indeed. But again, thanks for your time, and for everybody listening, thanks again. This is SDM Kahuna signing off.